Alright, since I'm already set up my microphone and shit, today we're going to be talking about Hasbro making a board game called Ms.Monopoly. Or how I like to call it, Ms.Ma'ampoloy. I'm not really good with these puns, but you know, you get the idea. Hasbro takes on the gender pay gap with new Ms.Monopoly game. Okay. So, Hasbro wants to take the conversation over the gender gap back out of the boardroom and into the living room with a new Ms.Monopoly game launched this month. Dubbed the first game where women make more than men. Now, right off the bat, that just sounds incredibly fucking sexist. Like, this is, you know, this is completely regressive to, this is practically just completely unfair to the male players. And also, let's not forget that there are people who don't identify as male or female. So, what's the next board game going to be? You know, non-binary Monopoly, non-Monopoly? Is that what's going to be called? Yeah, where non-binary players get paid like an extra $15,000 and like just for their special surgery and shit, and the rest of us only get paid like maybe a thousand. Like, yeah, that seems about right. Let's continue. The updated version of the classic board game introduces new centric elements. Starting with the titular character, Mrs. Monopoly is the niece of the elder Mr. Monopoly and a self-made investing guru, according to the product of listing of Walmart. In the game, women get a head start. Female players receive a $1,900 in Monopoly money at the beginning of the game, compared to the traditional $1,500 for each male player. USA Today reports. Women also receive $240 each time they pass go on the board, while men get paid $200. Can you imagine if there was a board game where it was completely opposite? Like, women would be pretty much pissed off. But you know, it would either piss off, women, or it wouldn't. Because, it's like, an example of the patriarchy. Like, you don't create something like this and expect it to go well. Because this is only teaching girls that they need a head start in life, just to be equal to that of the boys. This whole gender wage gap thing has been debunked time and time again. We've discussed this shit. And yet they continue on repeating the exact same narrative over and over again. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, so here's Miss Monopoly. Look at her. She's absolutely... Is that a Starbucks coffee right there? Ew. Ugh. Instead of buying a property, Ms. Monopoly players collect inventions made by women, like Wi-Fi, invented by Hedy Lamarr in the 1940s, and chocolate chip cookies created by Ruth Graves Wakefield in the 1930s. I don't know if all the details, but if it's true, then good on them, good on them. It's great to learn about your history, but, there are other things that, other inventions that aren't made by women, and, you're not giving them props. No, you just the women. Just the women. They deserve the spotlight. The traditional playing pieces like a battleship and a race car has been swapped with the new tokens, including a notebook, a pen, a jet, and a watch. You had to change the pieces. You just had to fucking change the pieces. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, women just earn... I know it. Of course they would bring up the wage gap. Of fucking course. Just letting you know, when you add in all the factors of these wage gap things, it's almost completely gone. Like, there's hardly any evidence that the wage gap exists out of pure sexism. It's not. like women go to different careers, they go to different jobs, they have their own personal lives, they get pregnant. Sometimes, single mothers, they earn more than that of the average man. So all this is just absolutely bullshit. Like I said, I've done hundreds, if not thousands of videos, debunking the wage gap. It's tiresome. Let it go already. But no, this has to happen. We gotta do this shit because we gotta teach women to be, more self-centered. We gotta tell them all these lies, at a very young age. It's absolutely garbage. Let's see. Despite what the data shows, not everyone is on board with working to close the wage gap. Nearly half of Americans think the wage gap isn't real. Hasbro aims to bring attention to this issue through Ms.Monopoly. We want to recognize and celebrate the many contributions women have made throughout society and continue to make a daily basis, said Jen Bozowski. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Senior Director of Global Brand Strategy and Marketing at Hasbro in a statement. Well, Gillette did the exact same thing, and guess what? Gillette lost over $8 billion. Monopoly was first introduced on a large scale in 1935 by Parker Brothers, whose companies also created other accounting games like Risk and Trivial Pursuit. But it was actually a woman, Lizzie Pillis, who was widely credited with the development game. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath. Widely credited with developing the game's basic premise in 1904 under the title Landlord's Game. Since then, over 275 million Monopoly sets have been sold. Ms.Monopoly will be available in mid-September for a suggested retail price of $19.99 according to Hasbro. Now, how much you want to bet that almost no one is going to buy this game? The only people that are going to buy this board game is, clearly feminists, but also guys who just, want to show off and say that this, just review the board game and it's just, an absolute train wreck. No one is going to want to buy products from Hasbro ever again after this shit. Cause what Hasbro is doing is, absolutely atrocious. There's no denying that there are female inventors. It's not to discredit them. There's nothing wrong with trying to teach girls about female inventors, and that's absolutely fine. But when you're told that, you got this massive disadvantage because you're a woman when all the evidence says otherwise and you're given extra money, it's kind of like, like giving handicap rights to people who aren't handicapped. They're just pretending to be handicapped. All those handicapped parking spaces, you're giving those people the same rights as, as handicapped, as those who are truly handicapped. But in truth, they don't really deserve it. They don't really need it. You're treating women like these inferior beings. You're being so unbelievably condescending that you need to give them this unfair advantage. You need to give them, something where they can stroke their freaking egos. You're making, women to be more of a complete narcissist. That's not healthy at all. This is teaching girls that it's just, it's okay to think this way, to have this inferiority complex. It's not right. You should see the tweets. Here's one tweet. Anyone down to play the Ms.Monopoly with me? It's Monopoly where women have a handicap because they're mentally inferior to that of men. Oh boy. I'm guessing they took out the iron thimble pieces. Ugh, Ms.Monopoly, Hasbro bring gender pay gap debate to game night. Yeah, nobody wants to, have a political debate on, on game night. It's a game. It's a freaking board game. We just want to play some freaking game. Why do you have to bring some politics in this shit? Let's see. Wow, Hasbro is perpetuating victimhood through a board game. They're insulting in young girls that society views them as less than. The pay gap comes from personal choices made by women, and they're calling this game female empowerment. Let's see, what else? Eating lady Doritos while I play Ms.Monopoly this weekend with my cuck husband. Thank you, Hasbro, for Ms.Monopoly. Women need this kind of head start in order to help them to feel empowered. Now, we just need Miss Chess, where the queen lounges around at the back the board while the king runs around doing all the hard work for a change. As a woman, I find Ms.Monopoly sexist. Equality doesn't mean women make more than men. Epic fail, way to go, Hasbro. And, I guarantee you there's a lot more. There also is a trailer where it's a trailer for Ms.Monopoly here. And, it's actually not that bad, but because they're actually giving out money to a couple of girls who are, inventors, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But you should take a look at the like and dislike ratio right here. It's only 483 likes and 5,500 dislikes. That's roughly 10 times more dislikes than likes. And of course the comments are disabled. So what does it say about Hasbro? What does it say about the people behind this shit? They know that they're full of shit, but they decided to just go all the way. So you know what? You know what we all say. Go woke, go broke. I am the Atheist Gamer, and keep gaming.